Walk with me. So had a unexpected Friday night. Ended up spending about 6 hours in the local Santa Monica emergency room. Never fun when you're telling a story about an emergency room. I know you're thinking, what happened? Are you okay? I'm okay. Wasn't for me. It was for my son, Greyson, who after 6 hours Friday night in the emergency room left with his first broken bones, his first cast. Not a fun experience. And I want to share with y'all the story of what happened, some of the things that went through and have been going through my mind. And as you would expect from our walks together, some lessons or mindset shifts that I'm not going to say have come out of it, that are in progress in my household right now, that I think could be valuable to you all with or without broken bones and emergency room visits. So before we get into that story, beautiful day here, Santa Monica, just finished a 6-mile run. And I want to know who's out there. Don't be shy, say hello below. Who's tuning in live? Who's catching the replay? Comment below where you're from. Hey, leave an emoji flag of where you're from. If you're from the States, what state? We'd love to see where everybody's plugging in from below. Comment below. Don't be shy. Say hello. Leave a flag. Leave a state. If you're new to the crew, welcome to the tribe. We walk together live, sharing inspired thoughts around the same time. Usually on Wednesdays. Walk with me Wednesday. You can remember. You can catch past conversations. We've been doing this for a while now on the podcast, Alive by Design. Check them out. And the only thing I ask if you're new to the crew is that you participate. This is about collaboration. So share some thoughts below, feedback, ideas, perspective, agree, disagree, things going on in your life. Would love to read. I read all of the comments. That adds value to myself and also adds value to everybody that's walking with us around the world this morning. So with that, I know you're saying, what the heck happened? So I'll share with you the story. So Friday, later afternoon, my son Greyson, those of you guys that follow me, you know, turns 6 here very, very soon. Comes to me and he wanted to go for a local hike on the trails you see me running on many, many mornings. And the sun was going down later in the evening, and he grabbed his scooter and he scootered up to the top of our community where we left the scooter, walked through the gate, and took a hike on the trails that you can get to from behind my house. And we had an awesome hike. We did a hike that we do frequently. Cool rock formations. We have a rock out there that Greyson has coined the term hideout rock. It's a kind of cool little cave you can climb into, epic views, and had a good time. I enjoy that time. It's where I get undistracted conversation with my son on the trails. And we end up coming back from the hike and we go through the gates and Greyson grabs his scooter and we just start going home. And it's not very far. I mean, this is something we do very, very frequently. And we turn around the corner where there's a pretty steep hill going down to our house, and Greyson takes off on a scooter like he always does, going very, very, very fast, picking up speed. And all of a sudden, I'm looking from behind him, the scooter starts to do what I would call speed wobbles. Have you guys ever been on a skateboard or anything with wheels where you get going too fast and all of a sudden the whole board or unit just starts squabbling back and forth almost uncontrollably. I call them speed wobbles. And all of a sudden I saw my son go into that where his scooter just started going voo, 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 got in the wobbles, and then you can guess what happens next. Boom. He goes down. And I'm sitting there going, ooh, that's going to be bad. Obviously, I start running over toward him. I'm picturing a really bad road rash from his slide. And I go pick him up, and obviously he's in pain and hurting. Dust him off, grab his scooter, grab him, give him the hug, tell him he's going to be okay, he's brave, he's strong, and we start kind of walking back to the house. And I can tell he's in a lot of pain, but he's not like hysterically screaming, just crying. Get back to the house, find mom, tell mom we had an accident, and we both start looking at him, and he's got a scratch on his nose and a scratch on his elbow and a scratch on his hip, and he says his arm really hurts. He starts holding his wrist. We look at it, we're like, does that look okay? See kind of a bump, and we turn his arm sideways. We're like, uh-oh, that is not right. You could totally see that his arm, maybe 2 inches above his wrist, is totally crooked. So we grab the stuff. We're like, we got to go to the emergency room. And so we did. Obviously, Greyson in pain in the back, telling how bad his arm is hurting. We put ice on it. We get to the emergency room. We run in. And the first thing the nurse says is, oh, no, only one parent allowed. COVID rules. Oh, horrible. So I handed Greyson to my wife. I took Sadie. Sadie and I went outside and waited, and Karis took Greyson in, where we proceeded to wait. We ended up being over 5 hours, maybe 5.5 hours, while he was in the emergency room. Some of you guys go, wow, long line. Yeah, long line on a Friday night. Also, the general practitioner in the emergency room, they did their best to straighten his arm. They casted him. And then an orthopedic specialist came in and said, no, this isn't good enough. This isn't going to heal right. So they had to uncast him, reset his arm, as in re-break his arm, so that way it was straight and could heal straight, and then recast him. And then by 12:30 or so on Friday night, we ended up coming home. Horrible experience as a parent. Parents out there, how many of you have had one of your kids get injured and hurt, and you feel totally helpless, and it's just, you want to do everything, but you can't do much? Who knows the feeling? And we brought him home on Friday, passed out on Friday night, and the next couple days, it's been interesting. Couple days after, everybody starts asking, and obviously a lot of the questions go into, kind of worst case scenario, and you start to think about all the questions people ask, like, oh no, did it break on a growth plate? Is it going to be permanent damage? Is this going to heal? And our mind immediately goes into worst case scenarios, like negative scenarios. And I found myself start to slip into some of those thoughts. Myself, my wife were like, this is horrible timing. His birthday is coming up. We had planned this experience to go to Great Wolf Lodge. He's literally been talking about it most of the year, looking forward to it. But it's this indoor water park that now is out of the question. He's not going to be able to go. Casts are not allowed. He had just begun and signed up for his first soccer season. He was all excited for AYSO, and boom, before his first game, not allowed. So all these different things start going through our mind of all the things that we aren't going to be able to do, all the plans that are going to have to change. And then I start talking to my friends, family, parents, everybody asking. And for those of you guys that sent love, I appreciate that, all the messages out there. And what I told everybody in reply, I'm like, Grayson's spirits are fine. His energy's great. His attitude's great. And it got me thinking about a lot of the conversations that we have on these walks together, that at the end of the day, guys, perspective is a choice. Mindset is a choice. No matter the circumstances, we get to choose how we respond to it. We get to choose the mindset that we have. And I'm sitting here watching my son so proud because it's like nothing phases him. Yeah, he's got a cast now all the way up, to his bicep. But he hasn't complained once. He hasn't even talked about the pain once. He hasn't mentioned one thing that he's upset that he can't do. He hasn't even gotten frustrated trying to do everything with one hand, right, over the last few days. And I'm like, that is a lesson we can all learn from. And so we immediately didn't talk about all the things that we had to cancel or postpone or readjust, and immediately said, okay, how do we shift the perspective here, and what can we talk to Greyson about? We started talking about how, man, he's going to be the coolest kid in his new kindergarten class, the first one with the cast, and how fun it's going to be to have all his friends be able to sign his cast and tell the story of how brave and strong he was. And he started getting excited about going to school and showing everybody the cast. And we're like, well, Greyson, now we get to learn how to do everything with our left hand. This is his right hand that broke. In the back of our mind, we're like, he's just starting school. He's learning how to write. And instead of dwelling, we said, okay, now it's time to learn how to write with your left hand. You're going to learn how to eat with your left hand. You're going to learn how to get really good at all these things, right, with your left hand. And now he's excited about doing all of it with the left hand. Matter of fact, he's been spending time at home, probably more time writing than he normally does, practicing with his left hand so he can show his teacher and show his kids at school how he can write with his left hand. And all these different things in terms of a shift in perspective. And the point of all of this obviously isn't my son Greyson. It isn't broken bones and emergency rooms. But it's the realization that no matter what happens, right, there are circumstances and things that are going to be outside of our control. But we have a choice on the perspective or the mindset that we choose to take. Our perspective is a choice. And in every situation, we can dwell on the woulda, shoulda, coulda. I found myself playing that in my head as a replay. Why did I let him ride a scooter? Why did I let him go so fast? And we can beat ourselves up over these situations. But we get to choose the perspective. Do we beat ourselves up on things we can't change? Or do we ask ourselves the question, well, what can I learn from this? What lessons are there to grab from this? So that way we can get better going forward. You can shift perspective in every situation. You can look at it, not only what can I learn, but how can I grow, right? How can I grow? How can I improve? How can I get better in this situation rather than dwell on what we can't do? What can we do, and how can we use this as a growth opportunity, an improvement opportunity, a progress opportunity? And I use that word opportunity because in any situation, guys, there is opportunity, even in the worst ones, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot that most would consider exciting about two broken bones, right? And an arm, emergency room, a cast for however long. But the reality is, in the obstacle, there also is opportunity. And we're going to choose to focus on that for him. But we can adopt that type of mindset no matter what we go through as individuals, not just as parents, but for ourselves in our life. So guys, when it comes down to it, mindset is everything. Perspective is everything. In every situation, we get to choose the perspective that we take. And where your attention goes and where your intention goes, that's going to determine ultimately the outcome or the result that you get, and not only that, the enjoyment or the feeling you have in the process. And only you get to control where your attention and your intention decide to focus on. So for those of you guys that are wondering, Greyson spirits are great. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a recovery. I'm sure there's going to be some frustrating moments, but we're going to choose to work with him on focusing on those things. And I think all of us can grab some lessons no matter what we go through for ourselves or our own loved ones. So in summary, no matter what the circumstance, no matter how unfun, unfortunate, how much you don't want or need, how unexpected, Sometimes things get thrown our way. First thing we can realize is this. Tell yourself, perspective is a choice. My mindset is a choice. My attitude is a choice. Matter of fact, I would write that down. I would literally tell you that. I choose my perspective. I choose my attitude. I choose my mindset. Next thing I would ask is, in this situation, what can I learn from this? In every situation, right? There's lessons to be pulled so we can improve for the future. What can I learn from this? Next question, how can I grow from this, right? How can I grow? How can I get better from this? And lastly, no matter what the circumstance may look like, every obstacle has an opportunity. Last question is, what opportunities can arise or can open from this? And if we take that framework, I choose my perspective. How can I learn? How can I grow? What opportunities will open? That's going to reframe or shift the mindset or perspective we have in any situation. And no matter what the situation is, a shift in mindset is going to get a better outcome and a better feeling than the alternative. And again, that is a choice. So again, thanks for all the love, for everybody that sent messages. I'll keep you posted. Greyson's doing well. Not something we would have chosen, but something we're going to adapt and deal with to the best of our ability, and some lessons that we all can take from a night in the emergency room with my family and my son that we can apply no matter what circumstances get thrown our way. One more view, kind of coming to the end, kind of run back. For all of you guys out there, thanks for plugging in. Hey, if you got something from today, give me some feedback below. Don't be shy, leave a comment. Would love any perspective you want to share. Catch past conversations on the podcast, Alive by Design. Go subscribe if you haven't. Hey, reviews are always welcome. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts, that helps. And until the next time we walk together, I hope all of you have an amazing week. I hope all of you have the best circumstances always flow your way, but on the times that they don't, because that is life, I hope all of you choose to take the right perspective shift or mindset shift to get the best out of the opportunities that present themselves. Until the next time we walk